It's been 40 years since the original Dragon Ball manga released, and it's been number one in my heart for over 20 years. And finally, with Dragon Ball Daima releasing next month, I figured it was the perfect time to do some Dragon Ball recaps. Get ready for a barrage of Dragon Ball videos, I cannot wait. I had so much fun making this, and I hope you guys enjoy it too. Stay tuned to the end of the video for some housekeeping items and some channel updates. But for now, I'll just say there is a poll up on my channel. I would love if you guys would fill that out. It would mean a lot to me. And with that being said, let's get into the recap of the greatest adventure in history. Thousands of miles from civilization, on Mount Paozu, alone lives a monkey boy named Son Goku, who is more than happy living his simple, secluded lifestyle amongst nature. Though one day, a young girl crashes into him with her car, and the little hermit attacks what he thinks is a monster after his food. When he discovers that he's not faced with a monster, but a human girl by the name of Bulma, he invites her over for lunch, and she accepts, as she believes he has something she wants.
Goku's grandpa told him to be nice to girls if he ever met one, Bulma being the first human he's ever met besides him.
When she arrives at his house, she explains to Goku that the orange 4-starred ball in his house isn't a reincarnation of his dead grandfather, but is a part of a set of 7 balls that, when gathered together, summons a dragon that can grant a person any wish they desire. Bulma is on a quest to gather these Dragon Balls to wish for the perfect boyfriend, and she cunningly invites Goku to adventure with her in search of them, being that he won't part with his 4-star ball, the last memento his grandfather left him. And so, the two set off on the greatest adventure in history. And can you tell I'm a little bit biased towards this show?
Yeah, we can tell.
With 3 Dragon Balls in their possession, they set their sights on the nearest one using Bulma's Dragon Radar, and use her Dino Cap to summon a motorcycle to make the 1,200-kilometer journey. When Bulma stops to take a leak, she is captured by a pterodactyl who convinces Goku he's her friend. But when she screams for help, he uses his power pole to save her. When they stop to take a rest, Bulma learns just how big of a hick this boy is, with absolutely no sense of social convention, though innocent to a fault. Elsewhere, a man named Pilaf is also in search of the Dragon Balls, with the goal of world domination, and he sends his 2 attendants, Mai and Shu, to chase after the rumor of a ball nearby, though they are unfortunate enough to run into Goku, who is out searching for real food, and he knocks their plane out of the sky, believing it to be a tasty bird. The next morning, after Goku discovers that Bulma doesn't have a penis, he heads outside to train, and stumbles upon a turtle, who asks the two for his help in returning home. Goku offers to help, but Bulma would rather not waste her time. And after the boy parts ways with the girl who says she hopes she never sees him again, she realizes she needs his Dragon Ball, and follows after them. After a minor obstacle in which Goku knocks out a beast looking to eat Turtle, they arrive at the ocean, and the sea turtle asks them to wait whilst he fetches them a gift. Soon after, he returns with his owner, the turtle hermit known as Master Roshi, and he gifts Goku his flying Nimbus, which can only be ridden by those with a pure heart, though the hermit himself can't ride it, and it becomes clear why when he asks to see Bulma's panties in exchange for a gift. She obliges, not realizing Goku removed her panties while she was sleeping, and in return she asks for the Dragon Ball she notices around his neck. Huh, this Dragon Ball doesn't have any stars. What does that say? Interesting. With 4 of the Dragon Balls now in their possession, the duo continue on their way, whilst Master Roshi returns to his house to find the Pilaf gang ransacking it for his Dragon Ball. He tells them he gave it away, and he sabotages their boat before they leave to find the ones he gave it to, but they drown before getting very far. While searching for the 5th Dragon Ball, the duo come across a village of people who are terrified of a monster named Oolong, who can change forms and has been abducting young girls from the village. In exchange for getting rid of their Oolong problem, Bulma asks for the Dragon Ball one of the elders possesses. And so, Goku dresses up as a little girl, and when Oolong arrives to collect his bride, it doesn't take him long to discover that he's being deceived. He transforms into a cow, and huffs and puffs, but must run away when his transformation time is up. And when he recharges, his terrifying transformations don't fool Goku. When the weakling flies away, Goku catches him, and he takes the villagers to his palace, where the kidnapped girls are living lavish, and Bulma receives the Dragon Ball as a reward. With only 2 Dragon Balls left to find, the duo resume their adventure, now with Oolong tagging along against his will, as Bulma believes his transformation ability may come in handy. Though when their transportation breaks down, Oolong's transformation ability proves quite useless, and they are forced to walk. When the whiny Bulma stops to take a nap, Goku and Oolong are targeted by a desert bandit by the name of Yamcha, who seeks to rob them.
Oolong recognizes Yamcha's pal Puar, who he went to transformation school with, but the two don't have the best relationship.
He engages Goku, and with our hero being so hungry, Yamcha manages to land his Wolf Fang Fist attack on him. But to the bandit's surprise, he gets up and reciprocates in kind. Before Yamcha can attack again, Bulma awakens, and just the mere sight of the pretty girl makes him weak in the knees. He retreats, but returns later that night to steal their mobile home capsule, though overhears Goku telling Oolong of an even greater prize, the Dragon Balls.
He wants to wish to be confident around girls.
So, he and Puar execute their plan to steal the balls, but he mistakes Bulma's boobs for the balls, and the shock forces him to leave. The next day he returns again and destroys their mobile home, but Goku, now on a full stomach, easily overpowers him. He retreats once more, then returns to give them a car and apology, planning to tail them and steal the Dragon Balls just as they gather the final one.
Oh, and Mai and Shu planted a bomb on their mobile home, though things didn't turn out so well for them.
The trio then arrive at their destination, Mount Frypan, which is surrounded by flames, and its castle is the home of the terrifying Ox King that supposedly kills all who enter his domain, according to Oolong. They soon run into this Ox King, and he tries to fight off the thieves, until he recognizes Goku's Nimbus and Power Pole. The Ox King tells Goku that both he and his grandfather trained under Master Roshi, and asks him to fetch the Bancho fan capable of putting out the fires on the mountain from Roshi. He asks him to fetch his daughter, Chi-Chi, who he previously tasked with seeking out the pervert, and when he finds her, she hops on his Nimbus, and they seek out the Turtle Hermit's Island together.
Yamcha knocked her out earlier after she was being very squeamish.
They soon find the island, and though Roshi is unable to find the fan, he offers to head there himself to put out the fire, if he is allowed to touch Bulma's boobs, and Goku obliviously agrees to the terms. When he arrives, he first has Bulma promise him to uphold Goku's deal if he puts out the fire, and desperate for the Dragon Ball, she agrees. Thus, Roshi bulks up, and prepares to fire his ultimate technique, the Kamehameha, to put out the fire, and though he succeeds, he destroys the mountain and castle in the process. Goku, impressed with the old-timer's move that took him 50 years to master, fires off a mini Kamehameha wave of his own. And after seeing this extraordinary feat, and learning that he is Gohan's grandson, Roshi offers to train the boy after they finish finding the Dragon Balls.
Oh yeah, if you're wondering why Bulma's wearing that, it was all Oolong had as spare clothes in his mobile home.
After they find the 7-star ball in the rubble, Roshi is quick to remind Bulma of their deal, and so she gets Oolong to transform into her, and he lets the old man go wild on his underage breasts. I should point out that though Bulma is 16, the age of consent in Japan at the time was 13, though that doesn't protect Roshi from sexual harassment laws. With their vehicle destroyed, the Ox King offers them one of his own as thanks, and before they depart, Chi-Chi asks Goku if he would make her his bride when they're older, and having no idea what she's talking about, he agrees. With only one Dragon Ball left to find, the team head westward and stop in a town for some gas, where they find a couple members of the Rabbit Gang causing trouble. Bulma tells Goku that they're bad guys, and so he beats them up. Then they call on their boss, and the entire town hide away before he arrives. When Boss Rabbit turns up, he turns Bulma into a carrot after she slaps him, then threatens her life if Goku attacks him. With the coward Oolong having run away, Yamcha realizes he's the only help they've got, so he and Puar help the monkey boy out, and with his leverage gone, the Boss Rabbit turns Bulma back to normal with the promise of being spared. Then, Bulma gives Oolong a stern talking to for running away, whilst Goku ties up the rabbit gang, and with his power pole, drops them off on the moon?
Yamcha hid away after helping them for fear of having to talk to Bulma, even though she thinks he's handsome.
With that business dealt with, the team continue on their way, but have their Dragon Balls stolen by Pilaf's gang, and when Goku catches the abandoned robot that stole them, he doesn't realize it's not human. Though lucky for them, Goku has been holding on to the 4-star ball this whole time, and with their vehicle destroyed, Yamcha offers them a ride to get their balls back. When they enter Pilaf's castle, they blindly walk into a booby trap, and the little man puts them to sleep with some gas. Then his attendants steal Goku's Dragon Ball. When the gang wake up, they chase after Pilaf, who still hasn't made his wish, though he traps them again, and prepares to summon the dragon. Yamcha tells Goku to use the Kamehameha to break them out, though he's only able to make a hole big enough for Puar and Oolong to escape through. At last, Pilaf summons the Eternal Dragon Shenron, who awaits his summoner's wish, but the little man takes too long, allowing Oolong to jump in to make his wish before him. He wishes for the panties of a hot babe. Thus, having granted a wish, Shenron bids them farewell, and the Dragon Balls scatter across the world once more, not able to be used again for another year. Pilaf is furious to have had his wish stolen, and captures the lot of them to await their execution. As the full moon shines bright that night, Goku tells his friends the story of how his grandpa died when a terrible monster appeared the night of the full moon, and that he told Goku to never gaze upon it. The gang quickly connect the dots, and tell Goku not to look at the full moon. But he does, and he undergoes a transformation into a great ape. Goku loses all sense of control and smashes everything in sight, but with the cell now open, his friends can escape. Yamcha gets over his fear of touching girls when he grabs Bulma to run away, and Pilaf's gang are knocked out of their plane by the monster. Yamcha remembers overhearing Goku mention to Chi-Chi that his tail is his weakness, and so he tells Puar to transform into scissors and cut it off. With his tail severed, Goku reverts back to normal, whilst the Pilaf gang run away. When he awakens, he's shocked to find his tail gone, but isn't too bothered by it. Though his friends agreed not to tell him that he's the one that destroyed the castle, and killed his grandfather. With the Dragon Balls unusable for another year, Bulma and Yamcha look to each other to fulfill their wishes, and decide to head to the city together, whilst Goku plans to head to train under Master Roshi, and search for his grandfather's ball again in 1 year's time. Therefore, Goku says goodbye to his new friends, and rides his Nimbus Cloud to the Turtle Hermit's house, where he finds him enjoying some light entertainment. With his video done and his fridge raided, Roshi tells Goku that he'll only train him if he brings him back a beautiful girl, but the boy doesn't quite understand the assignment. Then, the two are greeted by a young boy by the name of Krillin, who has traveled a long way to train under Master Roshi. He understands the pervert's mind better than his peer, and he is given the same task as Goku in order to become his student, though he can't ride the Nimbus due to his impure thoughts. So, he holds on tight to Goku, and the two stumble upon a woman crying for help from the police, by the name of Launch. After Goku saves her from being arrested for robbery, they take her to Roshi's place, and he invites her to stay at his place for a while. And she accepts? Okay then. Though they soon find out that every time she sneezes, her personality changes into something less pleasant. After surviving her blonde and bitchy side, she sneezes and reverts back to her pleasant side. Then Roshi turns his house into a capsule, and they move to a more spacious island. So, Roshi is ready to begin the boys' training, but first he measures the strength of their legs with a 100-meter sprint, Goku being well past the world record pace at 8.5 seconds, and Krillin with a respectable 10.4 seconds, though the Master surpasses them both at 5.6 seconds. Their next test is to find a signed rock he threw in the forest, and Krillin attempts to cheat once but is found out, then steals the rock off Goku and wins the contest. As the loser, Goku must endure his worst nightmare, no supper. though it turns out to be a blessing as Launch cooked them up a poisonous fish. When they recover from their food poisoning, Master Roshi begins his Turtle School of Martial Arts training program. And so begins one of my favorite couple episodes in all of anime, where the boys are tasked with delivering milk all across the island, and even the lively Goku gets worn out.
Though he's revitalized when he learns that his grandpa also did this training.
When the boys learn that Master Roshi will enter them in the World Martial Arts Tournament in 8 months' time, if they keep up with their training, they have a newfound motivation. For 8 months, they will deliver milk as part of their early morning training, followed by plowing fields by hand as their morning training, then following breakfast as their schooling so Goku can overcome his stupidity. After their afternoon nap, they do some construction work, followed by some life-threatening swimming and bee dodging. They will do this for the remaining 8 months, with a 20-kilo turtle shell tied to their back. After 7 months of this harsh, daily training, the boys are able to move the giant boulder the turtle hermit told them to move, if they wanted to be taught fighting techniques, though he never thought they would actually do it, and says that he doesn't have any techniques to teach them, that their training is enough, though now he doubles their turtle shell weight for the remaining month. Thus, the day of the tournament arrives, and when the boys remove their shells, they see just how much their strength has increased. With a dapper gift from Launch, they head to the tournament in style, alongside their master, and Goku gets to see the bright city lights for the first time. Upon registration, Goku meets up with his old friends, as Yamcha is also entering the tournament, having undergone training of his own for the past 8 months. After a good night's rest, Master Roshi gives his pupils their Turtle Hermit School fighting uniforms, and they, along with Yamcha, enter the preliminaries of the tournament, of which only 8 will proceed to the finals. Let's quickly run through the rules, shall we? There are 137 participants split into 4 blocks. The top 2 from each block will proceed to the next stage in front of the spectators. A contestant loses if they are knocked out of bounds, lose consciousness, or admit defeat. No killing is allowed, and weapons are prohibited. Krillin and Goku are placed in Block 3, and in the first match, Goku lightly taps his humongous opponent, causing him to fall out of bounds. In Krillin's first fight, he's pitted up against one of the monks from his old temple that used to bully him, and though he considers forfeiting out of fear of fighting him, he demonstrates that Master Roshi's training indeed produces incredible results. They breeze through the preliminaries, as does Yamcha, and enter into the finals as Bulma, Oolong, and Puar secretly watch on, though Master Roshi is missing. The final 8 contestants draw lots to determine the order of the fights, and with that complete, the 21st Tenkaichi Budokai is set to begin. The first match is Krillin against Bacterian, whose great advantage is that he's never showered once in his life, and the pungent odor alone nearly knocks Krillin out. Though when Goku reminds the 13-year-old that he doesn't even have a nose, the youngster flips the tables on his opponent, causing him to forfeit using his own strategy. The next match pits Yamcha against the aged Jackie Chun, and the boy can't even land a hit on the old-timer, who knocks him out of bounds with a swift breeze.
Yamcha connects the dots after witnessing Chun's perverted behavior, and suspects he was fighting Master Roshi.
The third quarterfinal match takes place between Nam and Ranfan, who attempts to win using her feminine charm, but Nam's resolve to win for his people allows him to resist long enough to knock her out. Before Goku's match can get underway against Giran, it's postponed due to rain, and they nearly have their fight at the nearby restaurant, where the reptile is causing trouble, though they are convinced to reserve themselves by Jackie Chun, and when the official fight commences, Goku is nearly tossed out of bounds by his opponent, but is saved by his Nimbus.
This is a one-time exception.
Trapped in Giran's Guru Guru Gum, Goku suddenly grows his tail back, and after seeing the boy break out of his indestructible gum, Giran waves the white flag. The announcer interviews the 2 boys before the semifinals, and Goku's shamelessness goes unparalleled. Then everyone is shocked to learn that the 2 were taught by the legendary Master Roshi. Jackie Chun meanwhile avoids Yamcha's accusation that he is really Master Roshi, and makes a fool of himself before his next match. The first semifinal is Chun versus Krillin, and the boy nearly knocks his opponent out of bounds with a dirty move, though he shoots himself back in bounds with a Kamehameha. This confirms Yamcha's suspicions that he is indeed Roshi. And after Krillin gets a bit frantic in his attack, Chun uses the afterimage technique to swing around behind him and knock him out. The second semifinal is between Goku and Nam, and after being a little bit too silly, the monkey boy almost loses to Nam's cross-arm dive attack, though he gets up before the 10 count is complete and kicks his opponent out of bounds. Nam has failed to win the 500,000 Zeni cash prize necessary to help his village, but Roshi, perceiving his hardship, gifts him a capsule capable of storing vast amounts of water. He tells him that he is indeed Master Roshi, and that he entered the tournament in disguise to beat his students, so that they don't get carried away thinking they're the strongest.
And he has him disguise himself as Roshi in the stands so that he can prove to Yamcha and the boys that Jackie Chun is not Master Roshi.
At last, the final match of the World Martial Arts Tournament is ready to get underway, and Jackie Chun looks as though he's about to win off the rip, but Goku flies back into the ring with his helicopter tail. The boy matches his master's Kamehameha with his own, counters his Drunken Fist style with his own Monkey Fist style, and all in all seems to be outperforming his opponent. Though when Chun launches his special Thunder Shock technique at the boy, he appears to have the fight in the bag, until the boy gazes upon the full moon, transforming once again into a great ape. He breaks free of Chun's attack, and goes berserk. Then seeing no other way to stop him, Chun launches a maximum power Kamehameha at the ape, seemingly destroying him. Though when the dust settles, he points out that he didn't destroy Goku, but the moon, and the young boy gets back up to resume their fight, naked.
Oh, okay, Krillin's a real one. He helped him out.
With both of them exhausted, they slug on through their match that has lasted for 4 hours, until they each exchange one final kick that knocks both of them down. But no draws are allowed in the tournament, and so the first one to stand up to declare himself the winner will be victorious, and Goku almost manages to do so before collapsing. Then Jackie Chun succeeds where he failed. Having won the match, Goku asks to fight him again someday. Then he meets back up with their friends and Roshi, and head to dinner, Goku racking up a bill big enough to drain his master's prize money. So, with the tournament over, Goku says goodbye to his friends as he sets off in search of his grandfather's 4-star Dragon Ball, equipped with Bulma's Dragon Radar. The first ball he finds has 5 stars, and he is confronted for it by Colonel Silver of the Red Ribbon Army, who destroys his Nimbus Cloud. Though the burly man is no match for Son Goku, and after he knocks him out, he steals his capsules and has his robot pilot him to the location of the next ball. Commander Red, the leader of the army, alerts his General White that a boy is on the way to his location, though all they find is the wreckage of the plane his robot crashed. A little girl named Suno drags the unconscious Goku back to her house, and when he warms up, he tells them that he's looking for a Dragon Ball, and the little girl and her mother seem terrified. They mistake him for being a part of the Red Ribbon Army who is also after the Dragon Ball, as they have kidnapped the chief of Jingle Village, and threaten his life if the men of the village don't help them search for the ball.
Their radar is less precise than Bulma's.
So, Goku casually says he'll beat the army up for them and rescue the chief, and after they see him beat up the soldiers looking for him, they start to believe him. They give him some clothes to combat the cold, and he fights his way to Muscle Tower, where General White is stationed, with the village chief in his custody. Everybody he comes across underestimates the little boy, and General White challenges him with making it to the top floor of the tower. On the 3rd floor, he faces a tough robot named Sergeant Metallic, and even blowing off its face with his Kamehameha doesn't finish it, but its batteries soon run out. When he reaches the 4th floor, he is faced with Ninja Murasaki, the messenger of death, but he quickly learns that he's really just a goofball. After a long game of run away from the strong monkey child, Murasaki releases Android number 8 on the boy, but the cyborg refuses to hurt the child, as he doesn't want to do bad things. Before the ninja can blow up the defect, Goku knocks him out and tells the Frankenstein-like machine that he should have stood up for himself. Then he continues on upwards to save the Elder, and Ader helps him navigate the maze to the top floor, where General White awaits them. But they fall through his trapdoor, and are faced with a disgusting creature called Bouillon, who reflects any and every attack aimed at his flabby body. Though Goku shows that he has brains for once, punching a hole in the tower to allow the cold to freeze the beast, then landing a punch that causes him to crumble. Goku then sets his sights on General White, and though he's no match for our hero, he's lucky when he grabs his tail, revealing Goku's weak spot. Though after tossing him around, Goku gets back up and pummels him, only Eighter stopping him from going even further. Then the general tricks them and holds the village chief hostage, and after he shoots Goku with his high-powered gun, the pure-hearted android becomes infuriated and sends the general flying with one punch. As expected, Goku survives, and Suno and her parents are relieved to see him return with the village chief, with Muscle Tower and the Red Ribbon Army's presence no more. Then, Goku and Suno take Eighter to the nearby Dr. Flap to remove the bomb in his chest, and after a little incident with Murasaki, he succeeds, and they return home. Thus, with Goku's Dragon Radar broken, his next stop is West City, where Bulma lives, and after one of the villagers inform him that Nimbus Clouds never die, he summons it, and says goodbye to the residents of Jingle Village. Goku heads west until he reaches West City, and eventually ends up at Bulma's home, Capsule Corporation. She fixes up his Dragon Radar, and insists she come with him to search for the Dragon Balls, being that school is so boring for the genius, and Yamcha has become quite popular with the girls. So, using her shrinking device, she rides in Goku's clothes on Nimbus, unaware that the Red Ribbon Army is after the boy, with his photos shared with every base, with the order to kill on sight. They find the location of the first Dragon Ball, though it lies at the bottom of the sea, and whilst Goku tries to find it, Bulma waits for him on a nearby island. The island is deserted apart from the Red Ribbon Army's presence, and Bulma gets chased by two of their perverted officers, until Goku saves her and suggests they ask Master Roshi for a submarine capsule to locate the ball. They proceed to his island, and trade him the shrinking device for his mini-sub, and you already know what he wants to use that for, the old pervert. When Krillin and Launch get back from their shopping, the little Baldy decides to join them on their adventure, being that there's supposedly treasure in that area, and they set on their way. Though they are spotted by a scout from the army, who finds Kame House, and the man in charge of the area, General Blue, splits his forces into two squads. One will capture the old man who they believe to be the professor who created the incredibly precise Dragon Radar, and the other, led by him, will capture the boy. The team that attempt to capture Master Roshi, it doesn't go so well for them. Goku and Co. find the underwater cave where the Dragon Ball is hidden, but they are pursued by General Blue's team, and Bulma and Krillin are terrified to find out that the Red Ribbon Army is after them. The trio exit their submarine, and make their way through the booby-trapped pirate cave to a cove, where they are attacked by a robot that guards it. The Turtle School students struggle to damage this ancient security guard, but Goku eventually destroys it whilst Bulma and Krillin run on ahead, with General Blue following closely behind.
His entire team was wiped out by the pirate traps.
Blue sends Goku in the wrong direction, and he ends up falling down a trapdoor in the clutches of a hungry octopus, whilst Bulma and Krillin find the pirate treasure. Though Blue pops out to steal it from under their noses, overpowering Krillin with his psychic powers that freeze him in place. He beats the shorty to a pulp, and before he can finish him off, Goku arrives on the scene having just had his fill of fried octopus. Though Goku is clearly the superior fighter, he too succumbs to his psychic powers, and before he's killed, a dirty mouse scares the general and his power wears off. Goku knocks him out with his paper scissors rock attack, and with the cave on the brink of collapse, he dives for the Dragon Ball, whilst his friends get a jump start on their escape. Goku finds the Dragon Ball, saves the little mouse that saved his life, then uses his Kamehameha to blast them out of the collapsing cave. After they find some food, they head back to Kame House, and the diamond that Bulma snagged and gave to Roshi is stolen by Blonde Launch before she flies away. Meanwhile, General Blue survived the cave's collapse and followed them to the island, where he uses his psychic ability to stealthily tie them all up. Then he steals the Dragon Balls and sets a time bomb before flying off. Lucky for them, the Nice Launch returns and unties Goku, who tosses the bomb, then swiftly follows after the general. He quickly catches up to him, though the two end up crash landing in a strange land called Penguin Village, where Goku meets a young girl named Arale.
This is the fictional land of Akira Toriyama's first serialized series, Dr. Slump.
The lively, pure-hearted robot Arale and the Gachan twins help Goku search for the bad guy, scouring the whole village for General Blue, who just wants a way out of this bumpkin town. He makes his way to the genius of the village, Senbei Norimaki's house, to steal a plane to escape with, though when there finds Goku, who sought him out to have his radar fixed again. After Senbei's son Turbo magically fixes the complex device, Goku and Arale find the general with his stolen Dragon Balls, and he takes the girl hostage. After freezing Goku in place and stealing his radar, he prepares to end his life. Though when Senbei tells his creation to play some pro wrestling with the bad man, Arale has some fun. Arale sends him flying far, far away, though he holds the radar. But luckily, the genius baby Turbo memorized its components, and makes another one for Goku. With his Dragon Balls recovered, but still no 4-star ball, Goku says goodbye to his new friends, and continues his search for his grandfather's memento. The nearest Dragon Ball is also being searched for by, you guessed it, the Red Ribbon Army, and Colonel Yellow trespasses on sacred land to find it. The ball happens to fall in the hands of a man named Bora, and he fights the army off the land he protects, though the colonel manages to snag his son Upa as leverage for the ball. But Goku arrives on the scene at the perfect time, and destroys the colonel's plane, saving the boy in the process. Fourth time's lucky, as the ball that landed in Korin's land is the 4-star ball, and Goku is told by Bora that his people have guarded this land for generations. It is said that whoever can climb the soaring tower with just their strength will receive holy water from the hermit who lives on top, and have their strength increased many-fold, though apparently nobody has ever accomplished this feat. Commander Red has grown tired of his army's incompetence, and summons the mercenary Tao Pai Pai to kill the boy for him. And when General Blue returns to HQ with the Dragon Radar in hand, Red gives him one chance to redeem himself in a duel against Tao Pai Pai. But the assassin is unfazed by his psychic powers, and kills him with just his tongue. Tao jumps on a pillar and soars to the land of Korin, reaching it in minutes, and finding his target Goku. But Bora stands in his way to protect the boy who saved his son, only to be killed in seconds. Goku, now enraged, rushes at the assassin, but it's clear he's no match for him, even his Kamehameha wave doing nothing but scorching his clothes. The mercenary then fires his Dodonpa wave at the boy, ending him, then snatches the bag of Dragon Balls and scrams, first stopping by a tailor to have new clothes made. Though he left one ball behind, the 4-star ball having saved Goku's life, who kills the soldier who is sent to retrieve it, having thought the boy dead. Goku promises Upa that he'll bring his father back to life with the Dragon Balls, but is aware that the far superior Tao will come back to finish the job, and Upa suggests he climb Korin Tower to increase his strength. And so Goku begins the treacherous climb of the tower, whilst Tao waits for his clothes to be made, telling the commander he'll return to finish the job in 3 days' time. When Goku reaches the top of the tower after a full day of climbing, he finds the hermit, a cat named Korin, who concludes that the boy has no ill intentions after reading his mind, but will only let him drink the super spirit water that will increase his strength, if he can snatch it from him. Goku struggles to read the lightning-fast cat's movements, and asks if anyone has ever stolen the jar off him, and learns that his master Roshi managed to do so 300 years ago, though it took him 3 years to accomplish. The cat gives him a senzu bean to keep him full for 10 days, then tosses his Dragon Ball outside, forcing the boy to scale down and back up the tower, this time in only 3 hours. After 2 full days of trying to steal the jar, he finally succeeds on the 3rd, and finds out that it is really just ordinary drinking water. The real training involves scaling the tower, learning how to control his breathing, and how to predict his opponent's moves. And with this new strength and knowledge, he says goodbye to his teacher and descends back down the tower. Incidentally, Tao is also on his way back to finish the job, and before he kills Upa, Goku once again arrives in time to save him. The mercenary is shocked to find just how much this little boy has improved in such a short amount of time, even blocking his Dodonpa with his hands. After concluding that he can't beat him as he is, He too rushes up the tower to drink the super spirit water, which Korin tricks him into thinking is real, then sends him back down on a black nimbus. Korin makes him fall through the cloud, then Tao lands a strong combo on our hero. But Goku just gets back up and mocks him, before launching his counterattack. The assassin resorts to cheap tactics, feigning forgiveness before leaving a bomb as a parting gift. But karma's a bitch, and Goku kicks it back in his face as it explodes. With that obstacle out of the way, Goku plans to head to Red Ribbon Army headquarters to take their Dragon Balls and put an end to them once and for all, still intent on keeping his promise to Upa. Can I just say, it's been cutting back and forth from Kame House where Bulma has been building some device to find Goku, and goddamn, Master Roshi is a relentless pervert. It's actually kind of wild just how relentless he is. Anyways, let's get back to the summary. Goku makes his way to Red Ribbon HQ, whilst Bulma and co find him with their flying device and deduce his target. Then they call on Yamcha to come escort them to the HQ to help their friend in his suicide mission. When HQ learns that it isn't Tao returning with the Dragon Balls, but Goku, they activate their defense systems, though our hero easily slips through, then decimates the legions of soldiers in the base. He quickly reaches Commander Red's location, but he orders his attendant Black to stop him. Yes, that's his name. After Red tries to crush both his attendant and Goku together, Black overhears his commander say that his wish is to become taller, and is killed by his subordinate for having such a stupid wish. When Goku pops back out of the floor, Black proposes they team up to rule the world, but that doesn't entice the kind boy one bit. When Black enters his battle jacket, he causes the boy some trouble. Okay, let's be real, Goku easily destroys him.
If you find this important, Colonel Violet robbed the army when Goku was attacking and fled. If you cared.
I don't think anybody cares.
Alright then.
With the Red Ribbon Army history and 6 Dragon Balls in his possession, Goku now just has one left to find to wish Bora back to life, but finds that his radar has broken again. On his way out of the base, his friends, who came to help him, wave him down, and are stunned to find out that he defeated the army single-handedly. Okay, from here on out, you guys might notice the quality drops quite a little bit in the stills. So I apologize for that, but it's really completely out of my control. I couldn't find anything of higher quality from this episode on. But just pretend like you're watching it in the 80s when it came out, and it shouldn't be too much of a problem. They then head back to Roshi so Bulma can fix the radar, but she finds nothing wrong with it, suggesting perhaps an animal swallowed it, blocking its electromagnetic waves. Roshi then suggests they head to someone named Fortune Teller Baba, who can help them locate whatever they desire, and both Yamcha and Krillin accompany him, inspired to work harder after seeing just how much Goku has improved. When they stop to refuel and get Goku some new clothes, the monkey boy heads to grab Upa and bring him along, being that he's so close to gathering all the Dragon Balls. So, they complete their journey to the location of Baba's palace, where they meet the fortune teller, who charges a small fee of 10 million zeni to locate an item. Severely lacking the funds, Baba gives them another option. If they can beat her 5 fighters, she will locate it for them for free. The rules are simple. You lose if you give up or fall in the lake, and when you lose, the next fighter takes your place. Krillin feels mighty confident and steps up first, his opponent being Dracula Man, but he is thrown off by his unorthodox dancing, then has his blood sucked by him, and feeling drowsy, he is easily knocked out of bounds. The team come up with a strategy, and Upa and Poir decide to fight, an exception being made for it to be 2 against 1. Upa repels the vampire with his garlic breath. Poir transforms into a porcupine before his blood is sucked. Then when the bat attempts to fly away, Poir transforms into the hamburger helper and swats him into the lake. With the score now 1-1, Yamcha steps up, his opponent, the Invisible Man. And as expected, he can't hit what he can't see, and Krillin tells Goku to fetch Bulma and Roshi to help in this fight. As Yamcha struggles to hear his opponent's movements over Baba's obnoxious singing, Goku returns with Bulma and Roshi, and Krillin enacts his plan. He pulls down Bulma's shirt, and Roshi's nosebleed reveals the Invisible Man's location, allowing Yamcha to pummel him, leading to his surrender. Baba is unwilling to forego her contest, even for her younger brother Roshi, and she takes them inside to meet her next fighter. Yamcha is taken to the demon's toilet, where defeat means death, and Goku refuses Baba's offer of joining her team in return for sparing Yamcha's life. Thus, Yamcha's opponent, Bandages the Mummy, appears and proves far superior to the former desert bandit, but his pride prevents him from conceding defeat. Before he's tossed to his toxic death, Goku saves him with his power pole, then steps up to fight, even Roshi doubting that the boy can win. Goku takes no damage from the mummy's attacks, but is caught in his steel-like bandages, and all of his friends subsequently tell him to give up. But their lack of faith is quite disturbing, as Goku breaks free of the bandages and knocks out his opponent with one punch. Next up is Devilman, who is clearly no match for the boy, but he lines up his ultimate attack, the Devilmite Beam, which amplifies even the tiniest evil thought in the user to cause them to explode. But it has no effect on the pure-hearted Goku, and he easily knocks out yet another opponent, leaving one left. The fifth masked fighter asks to move their fight outside, and he appears more polite than all the previous opponents, though Goku can tell he's stronger.
And Roshi recognizes his voice from somewhere.
The final fight between these two martial arts masters commences, and everyone is shocked to see the masked fighter launch a Kamehameha, though Goku dodges it and launches one of his own in midair. And before he can get the fighter to forfeit, he grabs his tail, seemingly knowing his weak spot, and the tables turn. Roshi has seen enough to confirm his suspicions. The identity of the masked man is none other than Goku's grandfather Gohan, back from the dead. Gohan flails his grandchild around, but Goku refuses to admit defeat until his tail snaps off, enraging the boy. But before he counterattacks, Gohan admits defeat and reveals to the boy his identity. Goku sheds happy tears at the sight of his grandfather, who is only able to visit this world for the day. Baba travels back and forth from the next world searching for fighters, and Gohan told her to inform him should she foresee a boy with a tail coming to her. Gohan thanks Roshi for training the boy, and hears all about Goku's adventures from his friends. And after seeing he has no need to worry about him, he bids farewell to his grandson, and departs to the afterlife peacefully. With the fighting over, Baba upholds her end of the bargain, and locates the 7th Dragon Ball. Goku quickly heads to its location nearby, as the Pilaf gang have it stored in a special case blocking its signal from the Dragon Radar, and plan to ambush the boy and steal the remaining 6. Though Goku finds them first, and they use their new Pilaf machine to fight him, and he quickly makes fools of them, and takes their Dragon Ball. Goku has now gathered all 7 Dragon Balls, and heads back to Baba's to collect Upa, who thanks Goku's friends for all their help. They rush back to the land of Korin on Nimbus, and summon the eternal dragon Shenron. Then Upa makes his wish to return his father back to life. Shenron does as the child requests, and Bora rises from his grave. Then Shenron bids them farewell, and Goku grabs the 4-star ball before it scatters. The father and son are eternally grateful, and Goku returns to his friends, though Roshi tells him there is no point for him to return to train with him in the Turtle School, as the world is a big place that could teach him far more than he can. Roshi tells him to leave the Nimbus behind and use his body to travel as part of his training. And Goku says goodbye to his friends until they meet again at the next World Tournament in 3 years' time, with Yamcha being admitted to Roshi's Turtle School alongside Krillin. Three years later, the day of the tournament arrives, and Goku swims across the globe to Papaya Island, where his friends await him. Whilst waiting, they are greeted by the Crane Hermit, a cranky old rival of the Turtle Hermit, who plans to have his 2 students wipe the floor in the tournament. Goku then arrives moments before registration ends and greets his friends. Then they all play some games and share some laughs the night before the tournament. When morning comes, the preliminaries are set to begin, and the Turtle Hermit students greet the title holder Jackie Chun, who is competing again. With all the youngsters spread out amongst the blocks, they breeze through the preliminaries, as do the rather unpleasant Tien Shinhan and Chiaotzu of Crane School. Goku easily takes care of a previous tournament champion, the martial arts expert King Choppa, whilst Tien nearly ends Nam's life, an act that antagonizes Goku. With the final 8 decided, Tien has Chaozu manipulate the draws as he sees fit, and first up is Yamcha versus the gloomy Tien. So, the first showdown between the Crane School and Turtle School begins. Yamcha proving that he's not all talk, but Tien is unfazed by his attacks. And when Yamcha launches his mastered Kamehameha at his opponent, Tien uses a technique to reflect it back. When Yamcha dodges it, he's left vulnerable, and Tien knocks him to the ground, then breaks his leg for good measure, ending the fight. Goku says he'll make him pay for doing something so dirty after already winning the fight, but reserves himself until it's his turn to face him. The next fight takes place the following day between Jackie Chun and Manwolf, who seems to hold a significant grudge against the old man. Manwolf transforms into a man whenever gazing upon the full moon, but since Chun blew it up 3 years ago, he's been stuck in his wolf state. Chun mocks the wolf and makes a fool out of him, tricking him into running out of bounds. Then he uses Krillin's shiny head and the power of hypnosis to convince the wolf that he's staring at the moon, turning him back into a man. The third match pits Krillin against Chaozu, who has been mocking Krillin for being short and bald throughout the tournament. Ironically, they seem somewhat evenly matched, but Chaozu has an advantage with his ability to fly, and begins firing Dodonpas at the boy, a technique Goku recognizes. When Tien learns that Goku killed Tao Pai Pai 3 years ago, he is angered, and Roshi tells his student that Tao is the Crane Hermit's younger brother. When Tien informs his master of this news, he tells Chaozu to kill his opponent. And to counter his Dodonpa, Krillin attempts to fire a Kamehameha for the first time. He dodges the Dodonpa and appears behind his opponent, landing a direct hit with his Kamehameha, but the little weirdo saves himself before he falls out of bounds. He then uses his psychic powers to pummel him around, but when Krillin tests the dummy's math skills, he is freed from his control and knocks him out of bounds.
Shen decides to give him math training after the fight is over.
As the sun sets on the second day of the tournament, and our heroes get some rest, Master Shen attempts to assassinate Goku in his sleep to avenge his brother. But when it turns into a full-on fight, Tien stops his master, and asks him for the chance to dispose of Goku in the tournament, and tells our hero not to lose before the final. The next day brings about Goku's quarterfinal fight against the movie star Pamput, though his obnoxious attitude does nothing for him, and Goku knocks him out cold in seconds. Now that waste of time is over, the first semifinal is set to get underway. It's Jackie Chun versus Tien, and Three Eyes is wary of this old man's skills. The two go blow for blow, nobody able to gain the upper hand, until Tien gets serious and uses his Taioken to blind Chun, and land a knee to his neck. Though when Chun gets up from the attack, he tries to convince Tien to use his powers for good, and abandon the Crane style. The Crane Hermit then connects the dots and realizes that Chun is really Roshi in disguise, and telepathically informs his student, who then fires off a Kamehameha at its creator. Roshi blocks the giant beam, and satisfied with his opponent's skills, he decides to let the next generation duke it out, as he willingly hops out of the ring, which baffles, then later angers Tien. When he confronts him about why he forfeit, Roshi tells him that it's time to make way for the new generation, and that he doesn't see Tien becoming a villain as he claims to want to be, then says that he expects a good match in the final. The second semifinal pits two best friends against one another, Goku versus Krillin, but their friendship doesn't get in the way of them going all out. Their friends in the crowd split on who to cheer for. As it becomes painfully clear to Krillin that he can't beat Goku head-on, he resorts to grabbing his tail, and the victory appears within his grasp, though Goku merely feigned weakness, as he slams Krillin to the ground, having strengthened his one weakness just as his grandfather instructed him to. Goku then seemingly vanishes, and reappears in front of Krillin, landing 9 lightning-fast attacks to knock him out of the ring, Krillin amazed at how much his best friend has improved. At long last, only 2 fighters remain, and when the day of the final arrives, Roshi's words to Tien actually shake the young martial artist's resolve. Many gather to witness this much-anticipated match, including Yamcha from out of the hospital, and almost as soon as it begins, Tien lands countless punches and his volleyball attack on Goku. though our hero gets back up, and after assessing Tien's intent to kill, is comfortable releasing his full battle power. He puts his afterimage technique to good use, then cleverly counters his Taioken attack, but suddenly begins to struggle against his opponent. As it turns out, Shen is ordering Chaozu to use his psychic powers to freeze Goku, allowing Tien to pummel him freely. When the fighter realizes this, he orders his master to stop interfering, and tells him that he no longer dreams of becoming an assassin. As the Crane Hermit becomes furious at both Tien and Chaozu for defying him, Roshi blasts him away with a Kamehameha before he can kill his little pupil. With his master's interference gone, a weight is lifted off Tien's shoulders, and he focuses on his fight with a newfound resolve to win, for himself alone. He lets Goku land some freebies on him as payback, then sprouts 2 extra arms, and Goku has to deal with twice the punches as they once again appear evenly matched. When that doesn't work, Tien warns Goku to dodge his next move, and launches his ultimate attack, the Kiko-Ho, and its destructive power obliterates the ring. I just wanted to say, because I feel like I might get some comments on this, there's literally no rhyme or reason as to why I chose to use the English version on some names, like Power Pole, or the Japanese version on other names, like Kiko-Ho, other than the fact that I just think one sounds better than the other. That's it. Though Goku manages to dodge it by jumping sky high, meaning whoever hits the ground first loses, and Goku fires a Kamehameha to launch himself into Tien with a headbutt. Both out of energy and free-falling, Goku unluckily hits a car, then the ground first, and the announcer proclaims Tien the winner of the 22nd Tenkaichi Budokai, by mere seconds. The crowd all gather to congratulate the two on a match to remember, and Tien is fond of the praise, his evil days seemingly behind him. With the tournament over, everyone including Tien and Chaozu head out for dinner, whilst Krillin heads back to the arena to retrieve Goku's Power Pole and Dragon Ball for him. But Goku gets a bad feeling, and when he heads to the arena, he finds Krillin dead. According to the announcer, murdered by a monster who was after the Dragon Ball and tournament roster. His friends also arrive, and are shocked at the sudden turn of events. Then Goku ignores Roshi's warnings, as he rushes after his best friend's killer using the Dragon Radar. The monster left behind a paper with a demon symbol on it, and Roshi is petrified of the implications, as this symbol belongs to the Demon King Piccolo, who plunged the world into terror centuries ago. Roshi and the Crane Hermit fought against his forces, though neither they nor their master, Mutaito, were any match for the Demon King. And so, Mutaito left his students with the promise to return, and whilst Crane walked down the path of evil, Roshi held faith in his master's words. When Mutaito eventually returned, he challenged King Piccolo once more, and sealed him away with his newly learned Mafuba technique, at the cost of his life.
If you're wondering how Roshi has lived for hundreds of years, he drank the Eternal Life Elixir. And I'm assuming Crane did too.
Elsewhere, King Piccolo sits before the Pilaf gang, who released him from the jar he was sealed in, that Roshi dropped to the bottom of the sea centuries ago, and tell him of the Dragon Balls. Pilaf asks for a quarter of the world, or something, when Piccolo eventually wishes for eternal youth and takes over the world, in exchange for unsealing him.
Fucking moron.
Goku eventually catches up with Piccolo's minion Tambourine, but being completely worn out from the tournament, the demon outmatches him and leaves him for dead. He then returns to his master with the Dragon Ball, and Piccolo orders him to kill every martial artist on the tournament roster, fearing becoming victim of the Mafuba again. Tambourine then travels the world, killing these fighters effortlessly, whilst King Piccolo lays another egg, that's really disgusting, that births another powerful warrior named Symbol, who is tasked with finding the 6 remaining Dragon Balls. When Goku wakes up, he seeks out some food, and finds a grilled fish hanging about. Then the owner of that fish confronts him for eating his food. When Goku sees a Dragon Ball tied around his neck, he mistakes him for an enemy, and the two go at it. But this stranger is surprisingly strong. When Goku finally realizes that he's not with Tambourine, Symbol arrives looking for the ball around his neck, and the fatty, Yajirobe, makes sashimi out of the dragon, whilst Tien, Chiaotzu, and Roshi attempt to find the Dragon Balls before King Piccolo. Tambourine finds Yamcha, and before he can kill the recovering fighter, his master orders him to head to the location where Symbol died, and finish the job. Yajirobe does his best to shake Goku off of his tail, who won't leave the Dragon Ball's side until the bad guys come back for it, and eventually Tambourine finds them, and Goku gets another crack at him, this time on a full stomach. Goku easily beats him, and blasts him to smithereens when he tries to run away. Then King Piccolo decides to face the one responsible for his children's deaths himself. As the Demon King descends on the duo of Goku and Yajirobe, the latter gives the former the Dragon Ball and runs away, being familiar with the terrible stories associated with Piccolo Daimao. When he lands, Goku is unafraid, and knocks him to the ground, but the Demon King won't be defeated that easily, and launches his own offensive that brings our hero to his knees. His full power Kamehameha doesn't even faze the Demon King, and he fires back with his own blast that seems to kill the Monkey Boy. Then he takes his Dragon Ball and leaves. All the while, Tien, Chiaotzu, and Roshi have gathered 5 of the remaining Dragon Balls, Tien humbling himself in front of someone he wronged in the past in the process. Anticipating King Piccolo to come after them with the 2 he has in his possession, the trio pick a spot to hide and hopefully steal his balls, Roshi not daring to challenge him in a fight, though when Tien sees him swallow the balls, major pause on that, Roshi concludes he has no choice but to face him, but puts Tien to sleep to avoid any more meaningless deaths. Roshi orders Chiaotzu to remain hidden no matter what. Then when King Piccolo descends, Roshi tells him where they buried the Dragon Balls, challenging him to get past him to retrieve them. Though Roshi has no intention of fighting, understanding it would be pointless, and when he tells the Demon King that he is a student of Mutaito's, the villain trembles with fear. Roshi attempts to seal him away with the Mafuba, but misses the sealing jar, and the move costs him his life. Having narrowly escaped the fate he was only just released from, King Piccolo summons the Eternal Dragon, and the immobile Tien tells Chiaotzu to wish to erase the Demon King from the world. But before he can utter the words, King Piccolo kills him. When King Piccolo finally speaks his wish, he is granted youth, and his power surges. Then before the dragon can bid him farewell, the villain destroys him with a mouth blast, rendering the one threat to his dominance dead. When he returns to the ship, Pilaf actually thinks he'll still get a piece of the world from the Demon King, the fucking idiot. But with their usefulness up, they are blown off the ship by him. Fuck, I wish they died. Elsewhere, Goku lives, and unable to move. He asks Yajirobe to take him to Korin's land in exchange for feeding him, and they set off on the long journey. When they arrive there, they greet Appa and Bora, and Goku persuades Yajirobe in carrying him to the top of the tower, with the promise of wizard food. Meanwhile, Bulma and Co. arrive to the location of the Dragon Ball's disappearance, and witness the horrible reality of their friends' deaths. Then Tien departs alone on a mission to learn the Mafuba, to bring down King Piccolo. The aforementioned demon makes for King's Castle, the seat of the King of the world, and when he finds the King, he orders him to address the world to let them know that King Piccolo is their new ruler. He displays his power by vaporizing a small town with one blast, and the king has no choice but to comply with this devil. When he eventually goes live on the air, he announces the world belongs to King Piccolo, and that it is doomed. Then the demon states that his world will be a lawless one, free of justice, where all may do as they wish. Back in Korin's land, Yajirobe manages to climb up the tower with Goku on his back, and is outraged to find he did all this for some stupid beans. But those very senzu beans heal Goku's injuries.
And Yajirobe ate a wee bit too many of them.
Korin informs the boy that there is nothing left for him to teach him, and that even Master Roshi died at the Demon King's hands, but stops the boy before he rushes off to avenge his master, with the promise of a super sacred water that can make him stronger.
The non-fake version of Super Spirit Water.
In order to get this special water, Goku must travel to a cave that contains a labyrinth of ice, and navigate the treacherous cave to reach it. Goku heeds Korin's warnings, and is teleported to the cave via a jar, which Yajirobe also fell through earlier when looking for food. Goku finds Yajirobe in the cave, and they get lost and fight an ice monster. Then when Yajirobe splits off to exit the cave, Goku continues on ahead and finds Master Roshi in the darkness. The old-timer leads him to his house with all his friends inside, who attempt to convince him to stay with them where it's safe, but Goku is determined to find the water and leaves. The Roshi copy won't let the boy have the super sacred water, and when Yajirobe falls from above on the boy, Goku hangs on for both their lives. Fake Roshi tells him he will give him the water if he lets go of the Fatso, but Goku refuses, and is then rewarded with the water. But the voice in the darkness tells him that the water unlocks the hidden potential for one of great mind, strength, and vitality, and he will die if he does not possess these qualities. Goku drinks it anyways, and writhes in agony for hours. Then when he awakens, he thanks the mysterious dark being and has Korin bring them back. The boy feels stronger than ever, and when Korin gives him a new Nimbus, he flies to King's Castle, able to sense the evil Piccolo's energy. Only slightly ahead of him, Tien is also on the way to face the demon, having finally mastered the Mafuba, and bids his friends a final goodbye on his way. King Piccolo announces that one of the 43 sectors of the world will be destroyed by him personally each year on his inauguration ceremony. The inaugural city chosen to be destroyed is West City, the home of Bulma's family, and before the king sets off, Tien confronts him. Though before he gets in range to use the Mafuba, the demon births a warrior he names Drum, who proves too strong for the martial arts champion, and when Tien attempts to use the Mafuba on King Piccolo, Drum gets in the way, and his father destroys the Denshi jar. Before Drum kills the exhausted Tien, Goku knocks him back and stands before his enemy, to the surprise of King Piccolo.
On his way, he saved the Ox King and Chi-Chi from some soldiers trying to kill him, on King Piccolo's orders to exterminate all martial artists.
With Goku's newfound strength, he defeats Drum in an instant, then blocks and dodges the Demon King's attacks, and actually damages him when he counterattacks. With Goku's power making even Tien tremble, the demon decides it's time to unleash his full power, and the very earth trembles beneath his feet as he charges up. He knocks Goku down, but the boy pops up again, and fires a bending Kamehameha as a warning shot to the self-proclaimed king. When they engage in combat again, King Piccolo becomes enraged at how much trouble this little boy is causing him, and fires his explosive demon wave at him that levels the entire surrounding area. But Tien saves him with his flying technique, draining the last of his power, and King Piccolo fires yet another, albeit weaker blast at the boy, who narrowly escapes death thanks to Nimbus. Though with only one leg still working, Goku can't stop the villain from threatening Tien's life, and with his friend's life in his enemy's hands, Goku can do nothing but take damage from the monster. With both legs and one arm now useless, Goku watches as King Piccolo flies high above to launch his final attack, but as he rushes him, our hero puts all his strength into his remaining arm, blasting himself upwards with a Kamehameha, and with his latent power, blasts through the Demon King's body. Before he dies, King Piccolo births one last child which he entrusts his will to. Then he explodes. Yajirobe, who came to watch Goku's fight, catches him before he hits the ground, and Tien praises our hero, before he's taken back to Korin's to heal. Tien stumbles into Yamcha and friends, who came to make a stand against King Piccolo, and Tien tells them of Goku's heroics. The world's celebrating the demon's death after Bulma reports it to the news. When Goku is all healed up at Korin's, the cat tells him that there is a way to bring Shenron back to life, to visit the one who created the Dragon Balls, and ask him to restore them. In order to meet this Kami, Goku must use his power pole to connect Korin's tower to Kami's temple, which floats high above the earth. Though he left his power pole on the battlefield, but after scouring for it he can't find it. So he asks Baba, and she locates it at Kame House, and our hero retrieves it in a hurry after telling his friends that it will let him bring their deceased friends back to life. So, when Goku returns to Korin's tower, he uses the power pole to ascend all the way to Kami's temple, and meets the most controversial character in Dragon Ball when he gets there, Mr. Popo. In order to meet Kami, Goku must defeat Mr. Popo, but the monkey boy can't catch the speedster, even having his Kamehameha swallowed by him. Mr. Popo calls the savior of the world weak and tells him to leave, but allows him to stay and train if he wishes. Goku learns that he still makes many unnecessary movements when he fights, and is pumped at the idea of getting stronger. And hearing all this, Kami decides to meet the boy. When Kami reveals himself, Goku rushes at the man resembling King Piccolo, but is flicked back like a fly. Kami then explains that he and Piccolo were once one being, but in order to succeed the previous Kami, he had to expel the evil in his heart, giving birth to Piccolo. Kami agrees to revive his creation Shenron, in exchange for Goku remaining with him to train for 3 years, until the next Tenkaichi tournament. Kami informs the boy that he should expect to face Piccolo's reincarnation at this tournament, who will be even stronger than before, and that child is currently causing all sorts of trouble down below. Kami doesn't tell Goku, but if Piccolo dies, so too will Kami, which is why he can't kill him himself. Back at Kame House, the Dragon Balls return to their former luster, and the crew summon Shenron, who tells them that he has returned thanks to Goku, who is training with Kami in the upper world until the next world tournament. They then wish for all the innocents killed by King Piccolo to be brought back to life, and are delighted to see their friends return to them, even the perverted Roshi. Thus, our favorite fighters all train tirelessly in preparation for the tournament in 3 years' time. Three years zip by, and when Goku stands tall before his friends, they almost don't recognize him, until he takes the head wrap off. There you go. Goku registers, and with minutes remaining on registration day, the rest of the squad pull up and register as well. Krillin finally gets to thank Goku for bringing him back to life, and the gang all get some rest before the big day. Goku, Krillin, and Yamcha all gear up in their turtle hermit gi, and Goku says that Kami removed his tail after he restored the moon. Then, Goku senses and stares down Piccolo Jr., who is ready to avenge his father's death. But Goku tells Tien to keep his identity a secret from everyone.
As if they can't tell, he looks exactly the same as King Piccolo.
Goku is then approached by a cute young girl, but when he has no idea who she is, she storms off in a rage. Side note, Tien, Chaozu, Krillin, and Yamcha all climbed Korin's tower and trained with him, before doing their own individual training. The preliminaries then commence, Chaozu making it so they are all placed in different blocks, and in his fight he is surprisingly defeated by a revived Cyborg Tao. In one block, an ordinary-looking middle-aged man defeats a disguised Yajirobe with ease, seemingly on accident, but the glutton can tell he's more than meets the eye. The final 8 are soon decided, and the first match is Tien versus Tao, the Crane Hermit watching on in anticipation of his brother's victory over the traitor. But Tien quickly displays his superiority over the man who taught him the fundamentals of martial arts, and before he can force him out of bounds, the cyborg reveals a sword in his hand and slashes Tien's chest. Tao is disqualified for using a weapon, but fires his new Super Dodonpa at Tien anyways, and the fighter cancels it out with just his aura, then quickly knocks him out with a punch. Tien then carries the unconscious Tao's body to his former master, and tells him to never show their faces around him again. Goku is up next, against his anonymous angry opponent, who won't forgive him for forgetting the promise he made to her. The martial artist states that he promised to make her his bride, and when Goku learns exactly what that means, she says she'll reveal her identity if he beats her, and with one swift air punch he knocks her out of bounds, and she reveals herself to be Chi-Chi, who is disappointed to learn that Goku thought bride meant some sort of food, though he casually asks her if she wants to get married anyways, making her the happiest girl in the world. And Goku still has no idea what he's gotten himself into. The next match pits Krillin against Ma Jr., and the youngster shows that his training wasn't for nothing, landing a good hit on the demon, and showing off his newly learned flying technique. When Junior takes things seriously, however, he dodges Krillin's Kamehameha, and lands a strong strike that knocks him to the ground, and when he's unable to stand up, he admits defeat. to great applause from the crowd. The fourth fight takes place between Yamcha and the mysterious Shen, and the latter plays the fool while simultaneously landing some strong hits against his opponent. Though when Shen decides to drop the clown act, Yamcha is clearly outclassed, and so he whips out his new special move, the Spirit Ball. He controls the ball of ki freely, and even lands a hit on his opponent, but celebrates too early, and is elbowed out of bounds. Following the match, the first semi-final is immediately set to start, a long-awaited rematch between Goku and Tien. They both seem evenly matched at first, but Tien picks up the speed, making it hard for Goku to keep up.
I think it's worth mentioning that Launch is basically in love with Tien. Yeah, that's it.
Goku then takes a break to remove some clothes, shocking everyone including Tien at the weight of them. He removes around 250 pounds of clothing, which Kami had him wear as part of his training, and his speed soars with that weight literally off his shoulders. Even Tien's 3 eyes can't keep up with Goku's movements, and so he decides 12 might do the trick. He uses his new multi-form technique that splits himself into 4 real bodies, and leaves Son Goku with nowhere left to run. But Goku's toughness has improved as well as his speed, enabling him to get up from Tien's direct hit. Goku then exploits Tien's weakness by turning his own Taiyoken against him, and quickly knocks out all 4 of them with ease, being that they each possess only a quarter the power of a normal Tien. Tien accepts his loss graciously, and before the next match takes place, Goku confronts Shen, who he has discovered to be Kami in disguise. Kami says Goku will not be able to defeat Piccolo, as Mr. Popo divulged the fact that if he dies, so too does Kami, and so he has entered this tournament to finish the job himself. When the match begins, Shen reads through Piccolo's true motive of world domination, and after a fierce exchange of attacks, they converse in a secret language once Piccolo uncovers his identity. Kami then attempts to use the Mafuba to seal his other half away, but Piccolo bounces it back at him and seals him away instead, leaving his borrowed human body behind. A 10-minute break is in effect before the final, and Piccolo swallows the jar containing Kami, leaving Goku no option but to kill him to retrieve it. He then shocks his friends with the fact that Ma Jr. is really King Piccolo's reincarnation, and tells them all about Kami and Piccolo's history. Piccolo makes his intentions of world domination abundantly clear, and with the break over, the final match of the 23rd Tenkaichi Budokai begins. Can I just say, all these fights took place on the same day? That's harsh, dude. Last tournament took place over like 3 or 4 days and they actually got some rest. But whatever. Piccolo knocks him down with some ki blasts, but Goku gets back up, excited at his opponent's strength, and they both decide playtime is over. After Goku diverts one of his enormous demon waves away from the stadium, he prepares to fire another, and Goku has no choice but to match it with his super Kamehameha. The 2 ki blasts clash, but Goku's overpowers Piccolo's, though the demon survives, his clothes all torn up. With his disguise gone, he makes it known to the public that he is King Piccolo reborn, ready to rule over them with terror once more, once he defeats Goku, and the crowd run away in fear. Only Goku's friends and the rather devoted announcer remain, and Piccolo's next technique has him grow several fold, but his size doesn't frighten our hero, even when he's stomped on. When he grows even larger, Goku enters his mouth and retrieves the bottle Kami was sealed in, then throws it to Tien, who opens it. With Kami now freed, Goku can fight without any reservations, and Piccolo returns to normal size to duke it out. Goku fires off a Kamehameha with his feet. I don't know, I just thought that was cool and you should know about it. When Kami interferes by blocking one of Piccolo's punches, Goku doesn't let him get in the way of the integrity of the match, and lets the demon land a freebie on him. Kami agrees to let him fight mano a mano with Piccolo, entrusting the world to him, and when they return to the fight, Goku leads one of Piccolo's homing ki blasts right back at him. Though his arm is battered, he simply tears it off and grows a new one. Then with his rage at its peak, he prepares to launch his last resort. Whilst he concentrates all his energy on himself, Goku tells his friends to run, and they hide within a hole Tien makes, to avoid Piccolo's super explosive demon wave. The blast turns all of Papaya Island into a wasteland, but Goku manages to withstand it, and counters with a fierce combination that culminates in a Kamehameha. The announcer begins the count, and Goku lets his guard down, thinking he's won, giving the still conscious Piccolo the chance to pierce him with a mouth blast. But the blast misses his vitals, and the stubborn bastard rises up again. But Piccolo knocks him back down and renders his other arm useless too, then flies high up just like his father did to finish him off. Kami asks Tien to kill him in order to stop Piccolo, but Goku tells them that he'll win, though it seems unlikely when Piccolo blasts the entire area into oblivion. When he descends, all that's left is a crater, and before he can send Goku's friends to join him in the next world, our hero comes flying in from out of nowhere, headbutting the villain out of bounds. Alas, third time's the charm, as Goku is proclaimed the victor of the 23rd Tenkaichi Budokai, and Yajirobe, who was also watching, gives him a Senzu Bean to heal his injuries. After Goku celebrates his long-awaited victory, he stops Kami from killing the helpless Piccolo, telling him that if he rises up to do evil again, he will simply stop him again. Goku sees through Kami's lie that if he and Piccolo die, they can simply wish Kami back to life, as if Kami dies, the Dragon Balls will disappear. Though Kami is remorseful of the evils his other half has committed, Roshi tells him that if it weren't for the Dragon Balls, none of these fine folk would have met or gotten so strong, and this incredible adventure would cease to exist. Goku then provides Piccolo with a Senzu Bean, much to everyone's dismay, and the villain says he will let him live for now, until next they meet, when he will realize his goal of world domination. And so the villain departs. When Kami asks Goku to replace him as Kami, our hero has no interest in such a boring job, and he and Chi-Chi bid farewell to their friends, then ride off on Nimbus, and live happily ever after. For a while. Wow, 4-hour-plus long videos in a row on my channel. I must be a lunatic. Thank you guys if you made it to the end. Next up will be the Saiyan Saga. I decided to split the Dragon Ball Z recaps into 4 videos. So Saiyan Saga, Frieza Saga, Cell Saga, and the Majin Buu Saga. I just think that way is better. You guys will get more videos rather than having to wait a couple of weeks just for one long one. And then after the Dragon Ball Z recaps, I'm probably also going to do Dragon Ball GT and Dragon Ball Super. That'll probably bleed into the Dragon Ball Daima release next month, of which I am planning to do episode reviews. So stay tuned for that, and I'll also be launching memberships on the channel soon. More information on that in the next video or 2. I'm really excited for that. And lastly, Dragon Ball Sparking Zero is releasing next month as well. I've never been more hyped for a video game in my life, and I may have something planned for that too, so stay tuned. With that being said, I love you all. If you made it to this point, you know what to do. Like, subscribe, and comment, because if you made it an hour and 15 minutes into the video, why haven't you done that already? Take it easy, and peace.